It's been over a week, and from my house, you can still see snow in the forest and in our backyard. It was an amazing snowstorm. I'm going to talk about the snowstorm and also what happened yesterday, which was Valentine's Day. First, let me shut the shade because otherwise I will have a halo on my head and it will give me an aura that I really don't need. Thank you for tuning in to today's Facebook Live. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and of course we think about love. We think about people in our lives that we care about. And the snow. For those of you that are in the area, you know very well that we got anywhere between 13 and 19 inches of snow. And of course, if you heard on the news, you probably don't realize how much snow we received. In fact, it'll probably be 2 or 3 weeks before all the snow melts. So what do those two topics have to do with leadership? Let's start with the snow. Because of the heavy snowstorm and of course the amount of ice that resulted, my wife and I were actually stayed in our house for 6 days. We didn't venture out. Not that we were trapped. We could have gotten out, but the conditions were a little treacherous and we might not have made it safely to where we wanted to go. And it wasn't until the 7th day that we decided to go out. By that time, the roads in our neighborhood was clear. We're in a rural area, so the snowplow didn't get in the local streets. Well, that brought to mind the fact that many leaders that I have met over the years acted out of isolation, meaning that they spend their entire day in their cubicle or in their car or at Starbucks and try to manage their team, their company remotely. That doesn't work. You cannot be a good leader and be isolated. Why not? Well, think about being isolated in a cabin surrounded by snow or a storm for weeks at a time. First of all, you can't be very effective. Second of all, you're constantly focused on what could happen, what could go wrong. You're worried about simple things like electricity, eating, and whether the roof is going to cave in. And more importantly, you start believing in your own thoughts, meaning that you spend so much time in your head. Well, as a leader, you need to spend time with your people. You need to know what their thoughts are. You need to, of course, engage them in conversation and dialogue to be able to talk with them and work with them. And you can't do that from a Starbucks or from your car or from your cubicle. More importantly, we must have connection with the people that we lead, because leadership is about love. And that goes to yesterday, which was Valentine's Day. Actually, I was going to broadcast this on Valentine's Day, but we had a technical glitch and I wasn't able to get on the internet. So just imagine we were yesterday at the 14th. Well, as a leader needs to use love as a tool. First of all, as a leader, you need to care about the people that you lead. You need to have a close connection. They rely on you. They rely on you for guidance. They rely on you for insights to help them succeed. And more importantly, often their entire paycheck depends on you, as well as the success of the team. So they need you, and for you to stay connected, you have to lead with your heart. And I know that's hard for some people to grasp, especially if you're a technical expert. Maybe you are that type of person that you're in a field such as technology or law where human emotions aren't supposed to be part of the job. Well, the best leaders always had a tremendous amount of heart. And so you need to lead with your heart. You must care for your people. You must recognize them as individuals with feelings and concerns. You can't be afraid of the drama of business. It just exists. As long as we have people in the workplace, there will be drama. You can't be afraid of it. You can't run away from it. You must be willing to deal with it. The second dimension of leading with your heart is that the people that you work for need to care about you. If they don't give a crap about you, if you are that arrogant leader who speaks, who doesn't talk with them or treats them with disrespect or demeans them in any way, they're not going to care about you. which means that they are not going to work their hardest for you. They'll probably do the bare minimum, or they'll do sloppy work. Of course, they won't take care of their customer and the real customers that pay your company what you do. And so they need to care about you, and they need to feel that heart-to-heart connection. I think that this is why, and this is my opinion, but I stand behind it, that women often make better leaders in most cases because they are nurtured, and by their nature, leading for the heart, using their heart, is important to them. And that's why many times women have much better connection with their employees than men do. Now again, that's a generalization. I've met many men, and I include myself, one of them, that we have that characteristic of understanding about human relationships and not being afraid of being open and caring and warm and vulnerable. That's part of leading from the heart. So you put the two together, is that if you try to be an isolated leader, you won't know your people and they won't know you. And if you're isolated, then you can't have that connection. You can't get the best out of your people. Because as a leader, your first and foremost goal, besides getting the work done, is to develop people. Develop them. Find out their strengths. Help them to be the best they can be. Help them to use their talents and their abilities to do the job, whatever that happens to be. And it doesn't matter if you're not in a workplace organization, you're just doing it in a volunteer organization, and you're trying to get tasks done, present a conference, put a bill in front of Congress, whatever it is. If that's what you are leading, the same applies. You can't do it in isolation. You must be able to be a leader with a heart. The best reputation I think you could have is when somebody speaks about you, they say, wow, I love working for that person because he really cares about me. He understands and does his best for me. And I, in turn, do the best for this person. So that wraps up my week. Being isolated in the snow, the tremendous amount of snow that we had, and St. Valentine's Day, which is a day about heart. But as a leader, you can't just rely on February 14th and give all your employees Valentines or candy kisses or whatever you do to show respect. It should be 365 days a year. And similarly, you also need to be that person who is out among your troops. You must be mixing with them. In fact, the best leaders from history spent a lot of time with the people. For instance, I don't know if you know the story about Abraham Lincoln. He would often leave Washington, D.C. and go to the battlegrounds as the war was being fought. And he would meet with the generals and he would talk with the troops to find out what they needed and what was going on. So that's how he was able to lead the effort and win the war, because he was the one that pretty much calling the shots. So as a leader, you're the one calling the shots, but you can't do it in isolation. You must be among your folks and treat them with respect and honor, and they will do the best for you. Now, before I sign off, I thought I'd share with you some unique feature about this wonderful room. Not only does it have a good view from the window, which I showed you, but this is also our Goofy room. My spouse, who likes to remain unknown, is a Goofy collector, and everything in this room has a Goofy theme. For instance, there's a collection of my Goofy ties that I've collected over the years, and of course there is a few posters. There's some, I guess you call them statues or characters from the Disney series. And over here on this wall there's more posters and pictures of Disney, and of course the gang, a little hard to see on the wall, and we have the whole cast of characters from Disney. So my spouse loves it. So this is our Goofy room. It's a relaxation room. It's a study room. We do lots of different things. So until next week's Facebook Live, again, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I'm always looking for new topics to present about the human element of leadership. And thank you again.